Hello again. My name is Gabe Zolna. I post at MBI 6801, Charleston shooting, what they're not telling you. One of the viewers sent me a comment that I believe is worth sharing. And as such, I'm going to turn it into a video. He starts off saying, and it is a he, consider this. An introverted 21-year-old white male goes into a church, sits quietly through the service, and then after an hour or so kills 9 people. Wednesday night at a historic African-American church in Charleston, South Carolina. He reportedly said to one of the victims, "You rape our women and you're taking over our country and you have to go." My thought, if it was purely motivated by hate for blacks, then why go to a church where you would find the best sort of blacks? Why not go to a bad neighborhood and shoot up a group? I'm thinking because it wouldn't have the same impact if this was somehow a staged event. Most people wouldn't be as sympathetic if it had been gang members, drug dealers, or outright thugs, or a group that had a criminal identity or intent. Happens all the time anyway, right? But if you shoot blacks in a church, you've changed the dynamics. Now we're talking major league effects. Good innocent black Christians gathered in a house of God to pray and study the Bible. Whoa. Not a bunch of lowlife ghetto here, no sir. Now you've struck a vein in all America. Why wouldn't Roof have done that? Gone to the projects, I mean. Then he would find those that more so fit his description, right? Seems to me like he attacked the wrong group of people. People that received him and were kind to him. Draw your own conclusions, but I'm thinking there is more to it than meets the eye. Not only another attack on gun rights, but this really widens the already spreading racial divide in this country. Blacks may have a problem with whites, but I don't really think white folks are as racist as is being portrayed. I'm white, and I've only seen it a couple of times in my life. Someone that really hated a minority. Most whites just get on with life. They don't get caught up in all this hate mongering. I think the divide comes from a small number of instigators, race baiters, liberal politicians, globalists, and other unknown factors and elements who keep this racial fire burning for an agenda that is not yet clear for most of us to understand. I get angry sometimes, I get offended sometimes, I get frustrated sometimes, but I've always helped my fellow man, and I've always wished them well and hoped the best for them, regardless of their color. I sure enjoyed reading that. I want to thank my viewer for taking the time to write what he did. I hope you take the time to listen what he wrote. You sure know what he thinks. If you've been watching me for any period of time, you sure know what I think. You know what's amazing is that we've got all these shooters, and I've said this countless times. We've got Dylann Roof, the most recent shooter. We've got James Holmes, the Colorado shooter. We've got Gerald Loeffner, the Tucson shooter. We have Aaron Alexis, the shooter at the military Navy Yards in D.C. Then we have supposedly Adam Lanza, which we've never really seen. All they've ever showed us is a photograph of a much younger, supposedly, Adam Lanza. What's also interesting, one of the talking heads at Fox News had made a comment, and what he said was that what's interesting to him is that Adam Lanza had that same stare as did Dylann Roof. How did he know that? We never saw Adam Lanza. All we ever saw was a photograph of Adam Lanza. That's sort of what I think. Was this a staged event? You know, with drugs and hypnosis, it's amazing what people can do. I saw a video, and I tried searching for it, I can't find it. It was a black and white video, and it was fairly lengthy. But what it took you through was, they took an individual and they hypnotized him. And they taught him how to shoot a gun during his hypnotic state. And he became very proficient during his hypnotic state. And then they wanted him to kill one of his best friends under the hypnotic state. They videoed the event, and what they did is they gave him a blank gun. The friend stood up to do a speech at an event, and he was put into his hypnotic trance by a command, and he was given a gun with blanks in it. He shot his best friend. His friend acted. His friend fell down, pretended to have been mortally wounded. And then they took him out of his hypnotic trance. They told him what he did. He didn't believe it. They showed him the video. He still didn't believe it. My point is that if you take a look at James Holmes, Gerald Loeffner, and Dylann Roof, do they all not look like they're completely out of their minds? You know why they look that way? I believe they were that way. Fast and Furious failed. They're not giving up on getting their guns. I think there's a real good possibility that all of these events, including the Boston Marathon bombing, were staged. They're pushing us in the direction that the elitists want us to go. Think what you like. You know what my viewer thinks. You've got a pretty good idea as to what I think. The question now is, what do you think?